And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day, and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. Chapter 20. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor, and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day, and hallowed it.
Intent to change times and laws. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that the first day of the week, Sunday, is the Lord's day. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that God ever changed his Sabbath from the seventh day, Saturday, Sabbato, to the first day, Sunday, the day of sun worship. Nowhere in the Bible did God sanctify the first day of the week. God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. Genesis 2:3. Man says it doesn't matter what day we choose to worship. We should worship God every day. Jesus is the Sabbath. God says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Exodus 28. Peter said, we ought to obey God rather than man. Acts 5:29. Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For surely I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle will by no means pass from the law till all is fulfilled. Whoever therefore breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches men so shall be called least in the kingdom. Matthew 5:17-19. If you love me, keep my commandments. John 14:15. He who has my commandments and keeps them, it is he who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and manifest myself to him. John 14:21. The Sabbath was not sanctified for the Hebrews only. There were no Hebrews when God sanctified the seventh day to be set apart to be our day of rest. Genesis 2:2-3. By keeping the one day, the seventh day, God sanctified as his holy day, we are acknowledging him as our Creator. Daniel 7:25. He shall speak pompous words against the Most High, shall persecute the saints of the Most High, and shall intend to change times and law. Only one of God's 10 Commandments laws includes time, the fourth. Constantine the Great was Roman emperor from 306 to 337, well known for being the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity. Constantine and co-emperor Licinius issued the Edict of Milan in 313, which proclaimed tolerance of all religions throughout the empire. They attempted to compromise God's seventh-day Sabbath to the first day of the week to accommodate and convert the sun worshippers to become Christians, and shall intend to change times and law. Daniel 7:25.
Hebrews 4. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. For we which have believed do enter into rest, as he said, As I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest. Although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. For he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise, And God did rest the seventh day from all his works. And in this place again, If they shall enter into my rest. Seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached entered not in because of unbelief. Again, he limiteth a certain day, saying in David, Today, after so long a time, as it is said, Today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if Jesus had given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day? There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. For he that is entered into his rest, he also hath ceased from his own works, as God did from his. Let us labor therefore to enter into that rest, lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief.
The finger of God. All Scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. 2 Timothy 3:16. Only one time did God personally write in the Scriptures, so there would be no misunderstanding that it came from him. Exodus 31:18. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of God. Deuteronomy 9:10. And the Lord delivered unto me 2 tables of stone, written with the finger of God, and on them was written according to all the words which the Lord spake with you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of assembly. Only one of God's 10 commandments has the word remember in it, the 4th, and the only one he knew they would forget. The first church, Ephesus, kept God's Sabbath well after his resurrection. Acts 18:1-4. After these things Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth, and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them. And because he was of the same craft, he abode with them and wrought, for by their occupation they were tent makers. And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath, and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks. Matthew 7:13-14. Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Are you going to follow the crowd or follow Jesus? As Peter said, we ought to obey God rather than man. Acts 5:29. As Jesus said, if you love me, keep my commandments. John 14:15.